WeHo is done for. What is this? Los Angeles is currently going through an architectural nervous breakdown. A developer is proposing to demolish an entire block on Sunset Strip between Larrabee and San Vicente, destroying the city's neighborhood and punish small businesses out to build a luxury mega project. The Viper Room, Sumby Market, Gil Turner's, for example, will be demolished. The new project renderings show that despite 4 years of community feedback, voices continue to be ignored. This project would create one of the most disruptive construction zones in WeHo history. West Hollywood deserves better. Look at the scale of this. Please voice your outrage and concerns here. Soon there will be no sense of a neighborhood with personality except overscale box grids. First of all, again, in the war between NIMBYs and YIMBYs, I find myself, again, saying everyone here is bad. Okay? The building is ugly as fuck, and it's 100% for, like, luxury condominiums. Okay? So it's not even opening up for, like, legitimate, affordable housing. So then I'm, like, frustrated by it. No, it's not even a centrist take. It's just so frustrating because, like, I don't give a fuck about, like, the neighborhood aesthetics or the neighborhood characteristics. I think West Hollywood needs desperately newer housing that is massive, that actually is affordable. Okay? The notion that this will actually open up the marketplace and make other housing, be more affordable by design is also bullshit. Okay? So calm down on that front. I don't get it. What's wrong with the new design? I mean, I don't care about either of these designs. Like, I just know exactly what this is. This is the addition, okay? But in housing form. And that's going to keep happening. Isn't the average house in West Hollywood like $2+ million? Yes and no, depending on where you are, but also, so West Hollywood, just like everywhere else in Los Angeles, West Hollywood, just like everywhere else in Los Angeles, has housing built in like 1935, okay? Every apartment there, every apartment complex is built in 1935, and it has not been repaired since 1935, okay? And they keep it that way, and all of those like bullshit-ass fucking apartments that are supposed to be more affordable than other places are still not necessarily affordable, okay? And now they're, proposing these like mega projects, which I wouldn't have like that big of an issue with. I wouldn't necessarily have that big of an issue with, but it's just like I know for a fucking fact this is literally like this is going to be just like the addition. You know what I mean? Vintage equals expensive? No, man. Expensive equals expensive. The reason why they are relatively affordable in comparison to a new housing development like this is because they just don't do anything with it. They just sit on the property. And because California has great weather, there's less wear and tear than you would have on your apartment complex or on your real estate than housing in other places. That's the main difference. Because it's only fucking summer and it rarely ever rains until recently, most houses need like very little upkeep. It's ugly though? Yeah, I don't care about that. It's not that ugly. Who gives a fuck? Everything is ugly. Calling shitty WeHo 4 to 12plex apartments vintage is so funny. Yeah, I know. They're vintage. Don't let the developers and the real estate don't let the landlord coalition hear about that. They'll start slapping on a vintage sticker on it and then upcharge you by another $500 a month. All the UBI housing subreddits are run over by people pushing for luxury housing instead of reforming this problem in society, so focused on zoning. No, eliminating certain restrictions on zoning is not a bad thing, okay? It's not. It needs to happen so that you can build new housing, okay? Build more units. The issue is, however, all of those motherfuckers are neoliberals. So they don't give a fuck about affordable housing. They just want new expensive housing because they correctly recognize that new and expensive housing developments will actually raise their fucking housing prices. That's the shitty side of the YIMBY-NIMBY conversation, is that in a lot of instances, NIMBYs are fucking stupid and don't even realize that like the YIMBYs are correct. that new housing like this will literally improve their fucking the housing prices. So they're stupid. Half of the people that don't want, half of the people, text that got Tucker fired just dropped. Oh my God. Okay, well, we'll look at that in a second. I get paid to do development in LA, and that's what we always say to the neighbors that oppose us. This will raise your assets value, and it works because it's true. It does. It does. New development does actually end up fucking improving your market value. But these guys are too stupid to understand that. But it doesn't even matter because I don't want fucking housing market value to go up. I want it to stay stable. I want it to remain the same. I want housing that doesn't actually, boost the property value of all the other houses in the neighborhood. I want housing to not do that. I want it to be mixed income housing, okay, forcibly. And with the majority of the mixed income housing being affordable units, that will unironically deflate the property values and the rent in that in the nearby vicinity, because it will have a deflationary impact on competition as other developers and landlords have to race to the fucking bottom to ensure that they are still competitive with their housing. Half of that lot is parking. Housing is good there. That's not what the rich people want, so it'll never happen. That's the irony of the situation, is that like rich people are too stupid to fucking push for things that are in their best interest in the long run. So they just like sit in front of this kind of new development project, not even realizing that it literally boosts their own property values. But I don't really give a fuck, because I'm sitting here in the middle going, this is so fucking stupid. But yeah, that is the reality. Ideally, what Yimbys want is those luxury developments to happen in the rich neighborhoods. No, Yimbys, in a lot of instances, we're not talking about well-intentioned Yimbys that are like, oh, this will at least engage market forces to ensure that there's like more supply to meet up with the demand, and therefore will have a deflationary impact on the market. No, of course it won't do that, because you're not offering people fucking apples. You're offering people who have the capacity to pay for more expensive strawberries when they're looking for apples. Okay? So there's that element to the conversation, to the story. Okay? So Yimbys are technically still on the same side. A lot of people are asking what Yimby and NIMBYs are. Probably worth explaining. Okay. Yimbys are yes in my backyard, and NIMBYs are no, not in my backyard. Yes in my backyard means pro-development, pro-real estate development, pro-luxury condominium, or pro-more housing units. It ranges from people who believe in, public housing and affordable housing and like want projects to happen that focus on opening up more affordable housing opportunities, all the way to people who are like Larry Elder, who I debated on this subject matter on Fox, if you remember, who's running for president now, by the way, who is a Yimby, but as a libertarian Yimby, he just wants zoning laws and deregulation to happen so he can keep building whatever kind of monstrosities that he wants to build with no interest in like genuinely solving a fucking housing crisis. NIMBYs, on the other hand, go from the other rich people who just don't want fucking other rich people who just don't want like any kind of construction happening in their backyard, to rich people who don't want mixed income housing or apartments at all because it's going to fucking eliminate their views, which whatever fucking views you have in West Hollywood, I don't even know, let's be real, or like it's going to block out the sunlight in their apartment complex that's next door to this monstrosity, or rich people that just don't want to be around people that are lower income because they think lower income people will be able to live in apartments, like Dave Chappelle, who stopped property developments happening in his little sliver of Ohio. Some of the most common, or Steph Curry, who did that as well. Some of the most common NIMBY arguments is this will destroy the neighborhood character. This will, which, I guess, okay. But most of the real reasons as to why they say that, other than like this will destroy neighborhood character, this is going to do a lot of noise pollution, this is going to have like toxic pollutants in general, and it's going to ruin the neighborhood in general. The main reasons for why people don't want development to happen in their backyard is because it's a nuisance, it's annoying, and some of those arguments are valid as far as like and then lastly, they think that it'll bring down property value, which it doesn't. It literally doesn't. Oof. It brings up property value. Yeah, people in my parents' neighborhood literally blocked a new grocery store nearby because they were afraid of crime. It's insane. Yep. To be honest, rich NIMBYs don't care about their property values that much in relation to this. They care about stopping poor people from being in their neighborhoods. The only time rich people don't act in their best financial interest is when they're being racist instead. Even in the most capitalist country, racism over profit is actually crazy. Well, it is still because they think that like their property values are going to diminish if black people are around. That's part of the reason. I love San Francisco, but the decision to surround an urban park 20% larger than Central Park with almost exclusively buildings on their 4 stories tall was absolutely wild, and the city should definitely be criticized heavily for this choice. Especially a bizarre choice when you're famously a city on a tiny peninsula with not a ton of room for low density weirdness like this. To be clear, the park itself isn't the issue. The park is great. The issue is how little density there is surrounding it. It's bipartisan too. A Republican mayor locally has been fighting for 3 years to get movement on affordable housing development, and NIMBYs who voted him in overruled him with a citizen's petition. Rents have gone up over 45% in the last 3 years here. Law student here. NIMBYs are 99% of the time bad for ordinary property owners or renters. Most lobby local zoning boards and or attend town halls because they are rich, old enough to take time off to fight inclusive housing measures. Yeah. So there it is. Like, cities in the United States of America like this need more housing, okay? They have too much density and not enough housing available. That is the unfortunate reality. Motherfuckers live there, but they can't afford to live there. And they work there, but they can't afford to live there. Skyscraper plans revealed for San Francisco's Ocean Beach, 712 homes, 50 stories. There's no shot. There's no fucking shot this will happen. Petitioner said that a 12-story building would cause negative psychological effects on neighbors, destroy soundscapes, and interfere with the livelihood of zoo animals across the street. It's also really funny to think that there would be a 12. This building plan is from a scammer who did this before. Yeah, I feel like this is ridiculous, okay? Like, I'm going to be honest with you. This is fucking ridiculous. Like, here, why don't you just, like, build out like this, okay? Build out. Larger apartments. They get progressively bigger and bigger. That looks like the building in the Yakuza series. The absolute greatest thing I ever learned about the importance of affordable housing is that it gives an extra $5. So fuck you. Fuck yourself. Are you happy? Are you happy with yourself? You think that's funny? That's cool. That's cool. You feel cool about that? You feel good about that? Fucking dick.